Hey, good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning here on Motivated Strength. I'm your host, Shane Schultz. We do this show so that you can start your day in a motivated, positive way. That way you can take on life challenges as they are, but more importantly, as you are right now. Now, if you happen to be new to the show, I want to say thank you for taking the time to see what it is that we're doing here. What we do on Motivated Strength is that we utilize what I call the optimal frame of mind. That optimal frame of mind is a higher way of thinking. That higher way of thinking can lead us to a higher level of living. Isn't that what we're all looking for in the first place? Now, motivated strength comes from a number of different challenges. You see, I love motivation. I really do. I love personal development. I always have. Whether it be people like Oprah Winfrey or people like Tony Robbins or people like Earl Nightingale or whatever the case may be. These people were able to inspire millions and millions and millions around the world. Now, here's the thing. I had a tough time feeling it. And the reason why I mention that is because I went through some challenges and struggles that maybe you can identify with. Whether it be clinical depression, whether it be traits of borderline personality disorder, whether it be PTSD, codependency, how about addiction, or even chronic nerve pain. Maybe there's something that you can identify with. And I know that I was struggling throughout this whole time. I was struggling. I was not only struggling, I was suffering because of how it is that I was handling this situation because I couldn't really get out of my own way. Does that sound familiar? I always talk about when it comes to depression, I talk about the avalanche because it seems as if like it's an avalanche that just keeps on falling on top of us of different things that happen, circumstances that happen, things that are out of our control and some of the things that are in our control. But here's the thing. When we're dealing with our challenges and struggles, it is often known to find us adapting to that challenge and struggle. Is that something that we can identify with? I mean, think about that. When you're going through mental illness, when you're going through chronic illness or chronic pain, it's really easy to adapt to what's going on. Why? Because it is going on 24/7. It's not something that's just going away. It's not something that's going to be there for a little bit and then going away for a long time and then coming back. No, most of the time it's with us for a while. And if it's not with us for a while, it is in a way that is very persistent. It's in a way that is very dominant when we come to our challenges and struggles. So when we're talking about these things, it's real easy to find us adapting to the symptoms of that problem, that struggle, that challenge, that suffering. See, suffering is partly the symptom of these types of things. It doesn't have to be, but it often is. And the reason why that is because we lose our value. That's right, we lose our value. So when we're losing our value, we're adapting more and more to what the diagnosis is. We're adapting more and more to what the symptoms are. We're adapting more and more to what the stigma is. Why? Is because we're sitting there and we're losing our value more and more. It's almost as if like, I do audio and video editing, okay? It's almost like opacity. When we are ready and we're ready to rock and roll and we're just at our optimal frame of mind, we're at 100%. We're at 100% opacity. But here's the thing. When we're sitting there going through the challenges and struggles that we go through, well, it turns out to be that we're at 70 opacity or that we're at 50 opacity. And opacity shows that it fades away. It fades away, so we lose our value. Only in our minds, in our own perceptions, not necessarily of what's out there, outside of us, but actually what's within us that actually finds us to be that way. I mean, think about that. Is that something that happens to you? I know it's happened to me. I know when I was dealing with my problems and my struggles and my suffering, I know that I was a less than person. It wasn't because of what anybody else said. It was because of what it is that I valued myself. There was times when I was more socially awkward, when I was going through my challenges and suffering. When we were dealing with those types of challenges, it's very normal to adapt to finding ourselves to having a lesser value. Now, here's the thing. How do you keep your value? That's the secret, right? How do you keep your value? Well, for one thing, you rely on those who you trust. because they're going to tell you straight up of where it is that you are. And if they're not, you need to give them permission to be able to do so, because they are there for you. They're there to support you. They're there to help you. So you need to give them permission to be straight with you so that they can help you understand. They're not trying to belittle you. They're not trying to stigmatize you. They're not trying to make you feel like you're worse or less than anybody else. What they're trying to do is they're trying to help you, and you need to give them permission to do that. Now, here's another thing that you can do. Well, you can look into that damn mirror and you can say, you know what? I'm still who I am. And what am I going to do in order to prove that? And prove it to yourself. See, there's this thing called the subconscious. The subconscious is something, I'm telling you, I've gone through a lot of things with mine. I really want to take it out for a long walk and not come back with it. The deal is that our subconscious learns by our patterns. Our subconscious learns by our actions. So when our actions are not congruent with what it is that we are, well, guess what the subconscious is going to do? The subconscious is going to go by the action. It's not going to go by the thoughts. It's not going to go just by, you wanting to be. It's going to go by the actions that you present. So when you're presenting yourself as less than, when you're presenting yourself as something that is not as much as what you used to be, or presenting yourself as not as much as what it is that the average person would be, because you're dealing with some pain, or you're dealing with some illness, or you're dealing with, some challenges that might be out there. Listen, I'm not trying to belittle you by saying some or little or anything like that. What I'm saying is that we need to make it so that it's a percentage of our life versus a consumption of our life. See, a percentage of our life allows us to keep about 98% of who it is that we are. 98% of what it is that we feel and think about ourselves. That's a hell of a lot different than 70% or 60% or 40%. See, when you start hitting those numbers, that's when things start happening in a way that's going in the wrong direction. That's when we start, isolating. That's when we start lashing out. That's when we start not taking care of our body. That's when we start not taking care of our mindset. And that is when we start suffering more and more and more. See, this is the thing about motivated strength. Utilizing the optimal frame of mind allows us to have permission to be more than the challenges, to be more than the suffering, to be more than the symptoms, to be more than the diagnosis. So when we're sitting there and we are devaluing who it is that we are because of the symptoms that we present, we got a problem. So we need to work on ways in order to be able to not devalue ourselves and to enforce how it is that we emphasize our value. Think about the things. Don't forget about the things that you do well. Don't forget about the things that make you special and unique. I mean, these are ideas that seem simple, and they are not easy to do, though. They're not easy because of the way that we think and feel. When we're thinking and we're feeling in a way that's going to be suffering, it's real easy to find ourselves adapting to what it is that we're ill by. But when we're sitting there and we're thinking outside of our suffering, and we're actually, presenting our actions that are outside of our suffering, well, now you got a fighting chance. Now you got a fighting chance to be who it is that you are. Now you got a fighting chance to put yourself in line for that cure that you're looking for. Now you got a fighting chance to put yourself in line for a higher level of living. See, the optimal frame of mind is a higher way of thinking. In that higher way of thinking is going to lead you to a higher level of living. It does it automatically, but it takes a lot of work in order to get there. It takes a lot of work in order to get that higher frame of mind. It takes a lot of work in order to be able to do the actions that are congruent with the thoughts that make it so that you have a higher level of living. All right, listen, we do this show Monday through Friday. We do this show because we feel that there are ways in order to be able to help you. That these ways, utilizing the optimal frame of mind, can get you to where you want to be. Now, I need to know what's keeping you stuck. What's keeping you from being able to achieve that? What's keeping you from being able to see how it is that your value is much more than your illness or much more than your pain? See, I know what it's like to go through a number of different situations when it comes to pain, both medically and mentally. And I know that the first thing that ends up being our problem is that our mindset starts fading away. It starts losing its value. So it's important for you to keep your value the way that you deserve to keep it. All right? As I said, we do this show Monday through Friday. We do this show so that you can start your day in a motivated, positive way. That way you can take on life's challenges as they are, like doctor appointments, like therapy sessions, like things at work, things at home, whatever the case may be, so that you can be able to provide a value for yourself, so that you can provide that value not only for yourself, but also for others to see and to find that they can do it because they see that you can do it too. All right? That's the main thing that we're trying to do here. We're a community together. It's not about me, myself, and I talking into a camera. We're a community together. We have over 750 of us that are working together, working hard together to help us be more than the challenges that we face, to find us be empowered to be more than the struggles, the suffering, all right, the strife and the stigma. It's to help us be able to do what it is that we are meant to do versus what we may merely exist to do. All right, listen, I hope you have an extraordinary day. Keep us in mind when it comes to your comments. Let us know what it is that we're doing right. Let us know what it is that we can improve upon. And that way, we will do what it takes in order to tear things around you so that you can not only be the best you for you, but also for others. Hope you have an extraordinary day. We'll talk to you again soon.